You're tuned in to the Dish TV, the talk show from SRI International that highlights our people, products, and technology portfolio. This series will focus on startups incubated by SRI Ventures. We invest in big ideas that create world-changing enterprises to make people safer, healthier, and more productive. I'm Renita Malhotra Hora, Head of Marketing and Communications. In this episode, my guest is Robert Herman, the CEO and co-founder of Rescan, a 3D mapping solution for indoor spaces. I asked Robert why exactly we need to map indoor spaces and what the experience was like collaborating with SRI's teams to develop a new product.
Rescan is about mapping indoor spaces, and I have to say that it's never been more relevant than today, because today, given COVID and all the changes that's happening, information is getting detached from a physical location, and people actually want to understand it. And what we are doing and what we are helping is to take that information, which is basically closed in buildings, closed in indoor spaces, and making them accessible in a digital format.
So let's dig into that a little bit. Why do we need to, first of all, map indoor spaces? I mean, when I think about mapping, I'm thinking about Google Maps and finding my way around cities if I'm taking a walk or a hike or, browsing a neighborhood. Tell me about the needs for indoor mapping.
I'll give you a very quick statistics that people spend, and that's pre-COVID, people spend roughly about 86% of their time indoor. We spend about 6% in cars and in transportation, and the rest outdoor. So if you think about it, then really all the high value transactions are all taking place indoor. But indoor is very, very special because all those indoor spaces are private. So mapping those is not such a straightforward exercise as if you were to map, for example, a hike that you mentioned, that is accessible to all the other people as well. And our belief is that if you map all those indoor spaces, then you're unlocking a huge potential that has not been accessible in the past before, because those are again private spaces and it just hasn't been mapped.
So when you talk about private spaces, are you talking about my home or a mall that I might visit?
The main two distinction is between commercial space and residential space. So I would put the residential slightly offside because that's very, very particular, and there are a lot of residential homes and apartments out there. When it comes to Rescan and our focus, we are focusing on the commercial spaces. And even within commercial, all those things that universities, that's a commercial space. Shopping center, that's a commercial space. But even things like a hospital, that is regarded as a commercial space. So there's like a long list of different spaces that are out there. Just in the US, you have about 100 billion square feet of existing space. And with Rescan and with our solution, you can actually unlock all that information that is contained within those walls, within those spaces, and to have and grab all that spatial context and spatial information.
So again, in defining an indoor space, the way you put it and the way I understand it is it's literally space enclosed between four walls, or more than four, if that's applicable. Or am I to understand, for example, is an outdoor strip mall, the whole mall, even if it's outdoors, it's one unit? So is
there are certainly blurry lines how you define indoor and outdoor. When we started Rescan and again in my previous life, we were buying properties and we were buying like large shopping centers and office building. And one of the best and most useful tool in my echelon was Google Maps, because Google Map helped me to understand the location from above, helped me to understand the macro position. Is it close to a highway or is it something which is integrated into the urban fabric? But Google Map basically stops at the front door. And if you think about the strip mall, then it kind of again stops at the front door. And what we wanted is to step beyond the front door and to understand again what's in the building.
Is your client for this product then primarily perhaps a real estate developer or an architect?
We are targeting the owners and managers, so those who are literally sitting on the top of the food chain. So those who are owning these large properties and large real estates, because they want to gain the insights and they want to have this operational efficiency in place as well. So just to give you an example, that my former employer, we managed over $146 billion across pretty much the entire globe, thousands of properties. And whenever we were looking something, they literally had to get on a plane, over a certain threshold, they flew to the property just to walk it and just to understand it. Of course, with COVID, that's all going to change, and now you can actually provide them tools to understand all of all of those properties. So yeah, the initial target is really for those large owners and managers who want to gain these insights, and physically it's no longer advisable to basically like do it in person. The way we look at it, that you have the place, you have the time, and then you have the participants, and very often that happens all in one place, because there is a reason that the participants and the time and the place all connect all together. But now with COVID-19 and what we are seeing is that all that three things becomes detached from each other. So I can actually have a look at the property at a different time, and that property can be in South America. It can be basically anywhere in the world. So all these place, time, and participant completely separates.
If I'm going to be opening, let's say, a factory or a mall or an office space, I can plan it right now.
Yes.
From where I am.
Correct.
Without having to go there and
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it also, first, of course, you can only do that if there's a digital copy of that office building and that office space. If you don't have that, then of course that's very, very hard. And that's why I do believe that mapping is now going to be more like a general solution for so many of these decisions, because you can really make all that informed decision if you can actually have something that you can measure or you can understand. So if we have mapped an office building, for example, then yeah, you can take that model, give it to an interior designer who maybe happen to be in Europe somewhere, and they can make all the configuration and then provide you with a fully fitted out new rendering of your potential office space. Or the other model, what we are seeing, and again, COVID-19 is a facilitator on that. Different robots, like sanitizing robots that are cleaning the factory floors or that are cleaning the shopping centers. They need to have a map as well so that they can actually autonomously navigate around those spaces. And again, if you provide that pre-map, then their navigation becomes seamless as opposed to just focusing on trying to do the mapping on locally as well.
How did you get hooked up with SRI International? How did that introduction occur? Where did it begin? And what kind of technology are you using? SRI technology, that is.
Yeah, I mean, our story is somewhat unique because we got introduced to SRI in 2015, and we were actually looking for a solution. So we saw some different reality capture mapping solutions out there, but they were either focusing on that very small niche that I mentioned, or they were focusing on residential. And through a common friend, we were introduced to SRI. Then we met with the business development team. We told them about our idea that, look, we are simple real estate people. We want to have a solution. We have big buildings. We want to map them. We want to capture them. And then they were scratching their head and they said, actually, we have done some work about large indoor mapping in the past. So how about if you talk to the Princeton CVT team, because they've done some work, and then Teddy Kumar and Supun Samarakara, they've done some amazing work. And so first we had a workshop together, then they really liked what we were bringing to the table. And then we started the cooperation on that way. And then eventually we entered into that partnership agreement with SRI, where they became one of our investors. And in exchange, we received like over 1.5 million lines of code. And it was an amazing springboard for us on the top, which we could build our technology, because that was a super important and really the heavy lifting, but it wasn't a product. So then we took the steps to make it a product out of that core technology.
What was that experience like? Did they develop sort of a solution for you from scratch? Do you know if they adapted other IP that they had already developed? What can you tell me about that?
Later, yeah, it's the later, and there was a little bit part of like bespoke development as well. But we were really tapping into that like treasure trove of knowledge that the team has built over, probably fair to say, the last like 15, 20 years. So we were taking a lot that was already existing. They were also doing some bespoke development, and the experience being great. And they are amazing and brilliant technologists. But we had to make the next transition when you're really moving from an R&D setting to something which is catered to the commercial world and to the commercial side. So how to transform that R&D into a product, and that's the part that basically us, the Riscam, was doing, as opposed to the CVT team.
Can you define for me, help me to understand what it was about SRI's CVT team that was different from other providers perhaps that you could have worked with, and why this was the ultimate solution that was just right for Riscam?
because when we put together our wish list or like those needs, and we did talk to other parties as well. SRI was the only one that could say, yeah, we can deliver this, we can deliver this, we can deliver this. So they had that holistic approach and this holistic view of instead of especially developing something that they had such an amazing like inventory of different patents and IPs that I think that is just like unmatched and unparalleled out there.
Tell me about where Rescan is right now in its stage of development as a company, a product.
We are at a very exciting stage because we launched publicly about 3 weeks ago, May the 5th. And so that's been the first for us as well. And
congratulations in the middle of COVID.
Yes, and it's been just amazing because in the first 3 days we received over like 100 inquiries from like potential clients, partners that we would love to have our capturing capability, and literally from all across the world. So we are now like ramping up and working hard at how to make sure that we can actually like really serve that demand, given COVID-19, given the fact that we have a full stack solution, right? So we have a capturing device as well. We have the data management, the semantic and the 3D construction, and how to even produce more capturing devices so that we can cater to that. So it's a super exciting period in like, yeah, serving these clients and then moving from pilots to actual paying customers, and then just ramping up all that client base as well.
Sounds like you're going to be very busy through the remainder of this year and next, and shelter in place might even be a good thing for you.
It's a blessing and a curse, I think, for everyone. But I mean, as you talked about, it really facilitates some change as well. So the office is not going to be the same as it used to be, and we all need to adopt. And sometimes, I mean, change is hard, and having these externalities to push you toward the change could be actually a good thing.